Hello everyone. Welcome back to Plato's contributions to literary criticism. Let us have a quick recap of the portions we have discussed in the last class. We have gone through Plato's attack on poetry. Plato discards poetry as he finds that poetry cannot mold the character of an individual or promote the welfare of the state. His arguments against poetry can be enumerated as follows. 1. It is twice removed from reality. Then, poetic inspiration. 3. Emotional appeal of poetry. 4. Non-moral character. So, we have discussed so far. Now, let us discuss the function of poetry according to Plato. Plato agrees that poetry gives us pleasure. However, Plato is of the opinion that mere pleasure should not be its objective. If it is not able to provide morals, it is useless. So we have seen that Plato was a person who always stood by the side of morals rather than pleasure. So he says that mere pleasure is not the purpose of poetry. If it is not able to teach anything, it is useless. Plato asks what contribution it makes to the knowledge of virtue. Virtue means goodness. So, according to Plato, poetry should not only please us, it should also teach us some good virtues. If it does not teach anything, poetry is useless. Poet should also be a good teacher. He suggests truth as the test of poetry. If poetry can be used for teaching good values and virtues, it will help to promote the welfare of the state and for molding the character of the individual. So that is the function of poetry according to Plato. Function of poetry should not be mere pleasure. The poet should be a good teacher of values and virtues. So that is all about function of poetry according to Plato. Now, Plato's comments on drama, Greek drama, he is speaking about. Plato's comments on poetry is applicable to drama as well. Drama is considered as a branch of poetry. So, Plato says that drama is twice removed from reality. Drama is a product of inspiration, so it cannot be trusted. It affects emotion, not intellect, which is harmful. Drama is non-moral in its character, which is a repetition of all points we have discussed. So, we discussed in case of poetry. Apart from this, Plato adds some other points, particularly about drama. First one, drama appeals to the baser instincts. Baser instincts means the bad tastes that is lying within us. Drama is an art form which is presented before the audience. So, in order to please the audience, the dramatist often includes whatever they like. For example, quarrels, lamentations, that is sentiments, imitations of cries of animals, etc., especially in case of comedy. Plato says that such things will arouse the bad taste in the people. It will make them careless about the discipline in life. So the first point was it appeals to the baser instinct. It will create bad taste in people because the dramatist will include whatever he likes in order to please the audience. So it will make the audience people careless about discipline in life. Second point is effects of impersonation or imitation. Acting in drama is not good for actors. Just imagine an actor continuously playing evil characters like cowards, dishonest people, criminals, etc. According to Plato, impersonating such evil characters continuously will affect the character of the actor. Such qualities will enter their personality. Acting other characters will also affect the self of the actor. However, Plato admits that acting good roles will be good to their personality. The noble characterizations in tragedies are good according to Plato. And now regarding tragic and comic pleasure, that is the pleasure aroused by tragedy and comedy. Plato views the pleasure aroused by tragedy and comedy in a suspicious way. So why he is suspicious about the pleasure aroused by tragedy and comedy? With tragedy in mind, Plato says why people feels pleasure when they see the tragedy of a person. See, tragedy means very painful. Tragedy is a painful experience in one's life. Why then people are feeling pleasure while watching a tragedy? So that is a very powerful question. This is a question that still confuses the psychologists. Plato puts forward a theory of his. Plato's theory is this. According to him, though emotions like anger, envy, fear, grief, and others are painful, they will provide pleasure when experienced in excess. So, this is the reason behind the pleasure caused by watching tragedy. See, Plato's theory is this: the feelings like anger, envy, fear, grief, etc., are painful. That's true. But if these feelings are provided in excess, it will create some kind of a pleasure in us. So, that is the reason why people watch tragedy, according to Plato. And in case of comedy, people laugh seeing a coward behaving like a brave man, or a fool behaving like a wise man, or a cheat behaving like an honest man. So, what causes laughter here is the incongruity, the difference, incongruity between what he is and what he pretends to be. Plato says that such a pleasure arising from the weakness of our fellow being is not good. In order to create good humor, that person of weakness should also be one whom we love. Otherwise, the weakness in him will arouse the feeling of contempt among us. So he goes on to say that too much laughter will affect the seriousness of man, which is needed for doing good deeds. However, in this part, Plato presents a profound truth. The truth is this: no character can be comic unless he is lovable. Only a lovable person will make us laugh. This is a very true, and there are several examples in film and literature. Mr. Bean, played by Rowan Atkinson, is such a character you are familiar with. Charlie Chaplin's famous character Tramp, Mr. Samuel Pickwick in Charles Dickens' Pickwick Papers, etc., or some other examples of lovable comic characters. And so we will stop here, and in the next class we will move on to Plato's observations on style, value of his criticism, etc. So we will stop here. Thank you.